Hello everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. It's a beautiful day today. I thought I would go ahead and get a video done and answer some questions that I have had about growing your orchids in moss. As you know, this moss is premium orchid grade moss, and I did a tutorial on this July 1st, 2017 on how to place your orchid in this beautiful premium grade moss. I thought I would just kind of give you an update on this one because it just keeps growing, as you can see. And I wanted to give you a really good tip. When you're placing your orchids in this moss, do you see how there are spaces that I have left in this moss to keep it really light and airy? Especially here you can see I've left it packed loosely. When you pack your moss too tightly, it will suffocate your roots. So make sure that when you're using a container either with holes or without holes, for that matter, make sure that you pack your moss very loosely in these containers because it is going to expand. So that's a really important thing for you to keep in mind. This is a really good way. If you're a beginning orchid grower, this is a great way to grow your orchids. This is very easy for you to navigate your way through. So make sure you go back and watch that tutorial. I also had to give you an update on Buddy Orchid because he's got a new root. As you see, I came back here this morning and yes. Now, do you see how I've packed this very lightly? It is light and airy. These roots can breathe. See, it's sprouting. This is sprouting. This is live. So when I need to give this one a new home, I don't even have to remove the moss. All I do is I just find it a larger home. And when it sprouts like this, I don't have to remove it, which is the beauty of growing in this beautiful orchid grade moss. Just make sure you get the right type of moss because there's two different types. And this is Llewellyn Preppy Lip, and as you see, she's getting a new root there. And as you can see, I've packed this loosely so everything in there can breathe, the roots can breathe and grow. So there's two different types of moss. There's the regular brown basket lining moss is what they call it. And then there's the premium orchid grade moss, and that's what you're looking for. I thought I'd also give a little note to beginning orchid growers. This method is really an excellent method to start out your orchid growing in. It is much easier than water culture is. I've had so many beginners ask me questions about water culture, and what I would suggest you do is I would suggest you start with an easier method first and learn how to grow your orchids first. And then in a year or so, if you want to try, maybe a discount foul in water culture to see if you like the method, then try it. This moss method, your orchids just really do thrive in it. And I thought I'd kind of give you an example of something. Do you see how this root right here is brown and mushy from here down? See, it's green, then it's brown from here down. Okay, in this moss, that is not a big deal. I don't need to worry about it. Okay, but if you have this in water culture, you're going to have to trim that root, and you're going to have to trim it until it's up into this green part. With moss, it's a whole lot more forgiving. These are easy to water. You don't water them unless the moss starts feeling dry to touch. So with this orchid, I probably water it about every 2 weeks. And so it's a really good beginning method that I highly recommend you give a try. I've also grown in bark for 14 years, and I do have quite a few of my orchids in bark, as you see here. Bark is a really good media. The thing about bark is you need to find a really good quality bark. So these two, as you see, this little guy has been in bark for about a month, and I'm getting really, really good root growth. I have a tutorial where I placed a gigantic phal in bark. If you would like to watch that, that kind of gives you a really good overview of what you can expect if you choose to grow in bark. I wanted to give you an update on this dendrobium. I see something at the base here of this dendrobium. Could this be a spike? Could this be a spike? I am hoping it's a spike. Now, if it's another cane, that's fine, but it sure does look like a spike to me. If this is a spike, I can tell you one thing. You will be hearing some cheers from my house. Yes, you will be. So I will keep you updated on that. But I have really enjoyed growing in bark. That's one thing that I just wanted to mention to you. The important thing is that you make sure that you get the right orchid pots. Make sure that you have enough drainage in the bottom of these pots if you're a beginner. That's a really important thing to keep in mind, to keep them drained really well. And here are a few of my other phal that I've kept in bark. Marianne is on the left, and she's been in bark for 7 years. Caribe is on the right, and she has been in bark for 3.5 years. And this is the one that I repotted in that video, my gigantic phal. And I noticed this morning that her spike is elongating once again. I'm going to get more blooms off of this spike. So I wanted to give you an update on that one because that's just amazing. I waited 2 years for this phal to rebloom for me. And since she's been in bloom, she hasn't stopped for 1.5 years. So a lot of people ask me, how long do I wait for these to rebloom? Well, I've waited at least 2.5 years before. 2 years on this one. And I also wanted to give you an update on phal Marianne. She is getting a new leaf. So can't wait to see this one bloom. This one is that beautiful pink and yellow salmon colored bloom. I love this phal. And now I'm going to give you some updates on some of my waterculture phals. And here is a really good example of that beautiful white fluffy mold that you're looking for, that shows that yes, your waterculture orchids are happy. And this is phal Intensity, and as you all know, she's a favorite of mine. I love this beautiful orchid. So this is what her root system is looking like now. I love this plant. Just such a beautiful, beautiful orchid. And here's a close-up view of all the beautiful roots of my golden number 5, and it is spiking. And this orchid took to waterculture easier than all of my other orchids. I put it in waterculture and it just started doing so very well. It's probably 2 things. Probably I had just a lot more experience with the growing method by the time I bought this one. And we had a really good growing season last fall. I put this in waterculture the 1st of September, and our fall was nice and warm up through November. So it had a really, really good head start as far as getting its root system going before it got cold. I won't be converting any more to waterculture this fall because our temps are already getting pretty low at night for this time of year. We actually hit 48 degrees these past few nights, so I'm probably going to wait for spring to convert any more over to water culture. So show you this beautiful spike, and hopefully I'll be having some blooms here in about a month. So you all be highly favored, deeply loved, and greatly blessed, and we'll talk to you next time.